The vast emptiness of space suddenly lit up with warning lights flashing across the command bridge of the Windstar **. Captain Drell gripped the edge of his control panel, his blue scales darkening with stress as the merchant vessel shuddered beneath him. "Status report," he demanded, eyes fixed on the failing system indicators. First Officer Keela tapped frantically at her console. Main drive functioning at 27% capacity and dropping. Secondary systems are compensating but overheating. We have maybe 6 hours before complete failure. Drell hissed through his teeth. The Windstar * had served him well for 15 cycles, carrying valuable cargo across 3 galactic arms. Now it drifted, wounded, in an unremarkable sector far from any major trade route. Plot our location. What options do we have? The ship's navigation AI responded in its flat, emotionless voice. Nearest Telgen outpost is 17 days at current speed. Nearest Guild-certified repair facility is 12 days. Both distances exceed our operational capacity. Drell's throat sac inflated slightly in frustration. Then we need alternatives. Scanning local registry, the AI continued. There is a repair facility within reach. Orbital Station Nexus 7, in orbit around the third planet of this system. Keela looked up, her face ridges contracting in surprise. That's Earth, isn't it? The newcomers. Humans, Drell confirmed, the word feeling strange in his mouth. The species had achieved faster than light travel only 30 years ago. In galactic terms, they were infants, barely out of their cradle world. What's their repair certification level? They hold Class B certification for standard drives and Class C for advanced systems, the AI reported. However, their customer satisfaction rating is unusually high at 97.3%. Drell and Keela exchanged looks of disbelief. Such ratings were almost unheard of, even among the ancient repair guilds of the core worlds. "Must be an error in the registry," muttered the ship's engineer, Vox, who had joined them on the bridge. "No way some planet-bound species that just learned to break light speed can fix Telzin tech. The rating is verified by the Galactic Registry of Service Providers," the AI countered. "Last update, 17 days ago." Drell stared at the slowly rotating image of Earth on his display. A blue-green world, unremarkable except for its unusually varied biosphere. Its inhabitants had been a curiosity when they first appeared on the galactic stage. Biological diversity unusual even by galactic standards, with a technological development path that seemed chaotic and unplanned. Another warning light flashed red. The primary coolant system had just failed. "We don't have a choice," Drell decided. "Set course for this Nexus 7 station. Send ahead our ship specifications and system failures." As the Windstar * altered course, Drell wondered what kind of reception they would receive. Most species were protective of their technology, reluctant to let outsiders tamper with their designs. The repair guilds had existed for thousands of years, passing knowledge from master to apprentice. What could these humans possibly offer that the established powers did not? 4 hours later, the blue-green planet filled their view screen, and an orbital structure came into view. A sprawling collection of modules, docking arms, and what appeared to be repurposed spacecraft hulls connected in a pattern that seemed almost random. "That's not what I expected," Vox said, staring at the station. "It looks like they built it from whatever they had lying around." A communication channel opened, and a human face appeared on screen. The being had light brown skin and dark hair cut short. Windstar **. "This is Orbital Station Nexus 7. I'm Chief Tom Mason. We've received your specs and failure report. Docking Bay 4 is prepared for your arrival. Don't worry, we'll have you flying again before you know it." The confidence in the human's voice was either admirable or foolish, Drell thought. But as the Windstar's * engines gave one final sputter before failing completely, He found himself hoping that the strange reputation of human repair technicians wasn't just a registry error after all. The docking clamps secured with a metallic thunk that reverberated through the Windstar's hull. Captain Drell and his crew gathered near the airlock, unsure what to expect from these human repair technicians. The airlock cycled open, revealing Chief Tom Mason and 3 other humans in blue jumpsuits with patches that read Nexus 7 Engineering. They carried an assortment of tools that looked deceptively simple. "Welcome to Nexus 7, Tom said, offering a hand. Drell hesitated before accepting the human custom of physical contact. "We've already begun analyzing your ship's systems based on the data you sent." Vox stepped forward, crossing his arms defensively. "Our drive core uses phase crystalline matrices with quantum calibration. It's highly advanced technology." Tom smiled. "The T-67 model with the modified Telsian harmonic resonators, right? We've worked on similar systems before." The Telsian crew exchanged shocked glances. "How could you possibly know that?" Vox demanded. "Your engine signature," Tom answered, tapping something on a small handheld device. "The frequency pattern is distinctive, but you've got a problem with the coolant distribution system, not the core itself. Mind if we take a look?" Without waiting for an answer, Tom led his team toward the engine room. Drell and Vox hurried after them, both curious and concerned about what these humans might do to their precious ship. In the engine room, a human woman with dark hair pulled back in a practical knot was already examining the coolant system panel. "Captain, this is Maria, our lead engineer," Tom introduced her. Maria didn't look up from her work. "Your coolant regulators are seized because of crystalline deposits. Common problem with ships that travel through the Keldor Nebula. Those mineral clouds do a number on these systems." Vox pushed forward. "We haven't been anywhere near the Keldor Nebula." "Yes, you have," Maria said matter-of-factly. "Maybe not the main ship, but these regulators have. They're aftermarket parts, probably salvaged from a cruiser that did make that journey." Drell shot a glance at Vox, who looked away. He had indeed purchased cheaper replacement parts from a questionable vendor 3 cycles ago. Tom patted Vox on the shoulder. "Don't worry. Happens all the time. The good news is we can fix it. The bad news is we don't have exact replacement parts for Telsian ships." "Then we're stuck here," Drell said, his scales darkening. "Not necessarily," Maria interrupted. She held up a small component. "We can retrofit these Earth-made thermal stabilizers. They're designed for different systems, but with some modifications." She trailed off, already lost in calculations. "That won't work," Vox protested. "Our coolant operates at pressures that would rupture your primitive components." Maria smiled. "That's why we're going to reinforce them with a titanium-vanadium alloy coating and add pressure distribution nodes here and here." She sketched quickly on her device. "It won't just work. It'll perform better than the original." "Impossible," Vox said flatly. Tom's smile grew wider. "Want to bet? If we're wrong, we'll give you the repairs for free." Over the next 12 hours, Drell watched in fascination as the human team disassembled, modified, and rebuilt major sections of his ship's cooling system. They didn't work like any repair technicians he had ever seen. Instead of following standard procedures, they constantly improvised, creating solutions on the spot. Maria sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by parts, singing softly to herself as she modified Earth components to work with Telsian technology. Another technician named Ben had rigged up a testing apparatus using what appeared to be kitchen equipment from the station's mess hall. "Is this normal?" Drell asked Tom, who was overseeing the work. "Normal for us," Tom replied. "We work with what we have. Earth spent centuries isolated, developing thousands of different ways to solve the same problems. Makes us good at improvising." When the moment of truth came, Vox insisted on activating the systems himself. The coolant pumps hummed to life, pressure readings stabilized, and the temperature began dropping across all systems. That's impossible," Vox whispered, checking the readings again. The efficiency is 12% higher than factory specifications. Maria grinned, wiping grease from her hands. Told you so. Oh, and we found a few other issues while we were in there. Fixed those too. No extra charge. As Drell watched his ship return to life under human hands, he realized he had stumbled upon something remarkable, something the galaxy needed to know about. 3 weeks after the Windstar's asterisk repairs, orbital station Nexus 7 buzzed with unprecedented activity. 5 alien vessels now occupied the docking bays, with 3 more waiting in a holding pattern. Chief Tom Mason hurried through the crowded corridors, dodging crew members carrying tools and parts. I thought you said Captain Drell would keep quiet about us, Tom said to Maria as they headed toward Docking Bay 2, where a massive Vortian science vessel waited. Maria shrugged. Apparently, he mentioned our work to a few close associates. In galactic merchant circles, that's practically a broadcast announcement. The station's communication officer, Pete, jogged up to them, slightly out of breath. 2 more ships just requested emergency docking. A hegemony warship with weapons malfunctions, and something called a Malosian Arc ship with life support failures. Tom rubbed his temples. We're already at triple capacity. Tell the hegemony ship we can take them, but the Arc ship needs to divert to Nexus 9. Nexus 9 isn't even fully operational yet, Maria protested. It has to be now, Tom replied. Call Jake and tell him to get his team ready. They're about to get their first real test. As they entered the docking bay, they were greeted by Captain Lear of the Vortian science vessel Cosmic Lens *. The Vortian stood nearly 7 feet tall, with crystalline growths protruding from jointed limbs. I was assured humans could repair our quantum crystalline computation matrix, Lear said, the translating device at his throat converting his harmonic language into English. Many said it was impossible, that only Vortian technicians could work with living crystal. Tom nodded confidently. We've studied your specifications. The problem is fascinating. Your computational crystals are experiencing vibrational dissonance because of exposure to tachyon particles, right? Lear's crystalline structures flashed in surprise. How did you know? Our own engineers needed 3 cycles to diagnose this. Maria stepped forward, holding up a simple tuning fork. We use something similar in Earth music. Different frequencies cause different vibrations. Your crystals are just resonating at the wrong frequency. Over the next few hours, the human team worked on the Vortian ship, using modified sonic equipment originally designed for Earth medical imaging. In another bay, Ben led a team repairing the hegemony warship, while at the far end of the station, a group of humans was constructing something using salvaged parts from a dozen different species. A Xelan diplomat named Trin, waiting for repairs on his shuttle, watched the activity with increasing curiosity. He approached Tom during a brief break. I've observed something unusual about humans, Trin said, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. Most species in the galaxy develop technologies in logical progression, building upon established principles. But you humans seem to have developed thousands of different solutions to the same problems, often in parallel. Tom nodded, sipping his coffee. Earth was isolated until recently. Different regions developed different technologies based on available resources and cultural approaches. When we finally united, we had this massive toolkit of sometimes contradictory, but equally functional solutions. This explains much, Trin mused. The Galactic Mechanics Guild uses standardized procedures for all repairs. They replaced my shuttle's navigation system 3 times, and it still fails. You humans look at problems differently. We have to, Maria joined in. Earth has over 200 nations, thousands of languages, and countless cultures. Necessity forced us to be adaptable. By the end of the station's artificial day cycle, all 5 ships had been repaired and cleared for departure. As the Cosmic Lens disconnected from the docking clamps, Captain Lear sent a final message. I will inform the Vortian Science Directorate of your capabilities. Expect more of our vessels. Tom collapsed into a chair in the station's small mess hall, exhausted but satisfied. We need to expand. Fast. Maria nodded, looking at a holographic display showing dozens of incoming repair requests. I think we just found humanity's place in the galaxy. We're not the strongest or the most advanced, but we can fix anything, Tom finished with a tired smile. Because we never learned there's only one right way to solve a problem. Outside the viewport, the repaired alien ships accelerated away, each carrying stories of the strange humans who could repair the irreparable. In all corners of the nearby sectors, ship captains and fleet commanders were beginning to alter their courses, setting new destinations for these remarkable human repair stations. Alarms blared throughout Nexus 7 as emergency protocols activated. Tom sprinted to the command center, where Pete was coordinating the station's response to an incoming distress call. "What do we have?" Tom asked, slightly out of breath. "It's big," Pete replied, enlarging the holographic display. "The Eternal Light Asterisk, flagship of the Paxian Conclave. They're reporting catastrophic failure of their dimensional fold drive." Maria, who had arrived seconds after Tom, let out a low whistle. "A fold drive? We've never even seen one up close. That's Tier 1 technology." The dimensional fold drive was the pinnacle of galactic engineering, allowing ships to travel between distant points by folding space itself. Only a handful of species possessed the knowledge to build them, and the Paxians were notoriously secretive about their technology. "They're requesting emergency docking," Pete continued. "Ambassador Loreth is aboard and needs to reach the Galactic Council Summit in 3 days. If they miss it, the peace negotiations between the Paxians and the Mavorian Collective could collapse." Tom finished grimly. "Get them docking clearance immediately." 2 hours later, the massive Paxian vessel dwarfed the human station as it maneuvered into position. The Eternal Light Asterisk was a breathtaking sight, its silver-blue hull gleaming with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and move as if alive. Ambassador Loreth and his entourage met the human team at the airlock. The ambassador's translucent skin glowed with faint bioluminescence, a sign of extreme stress among Paxians. "My engineers insist this is a waste of time," Loreth stated without preamble. "No non-Paxian has ever repaired a fold drive, but we have no alternative." Tom maintained a respectful posture. "We understand, Ambassador. We can't promise success, but we'll do everything possible to get you to the summit on time. The fate of 17 worlds may rest on your primitive tools," Loreth replied coldly. "You have exactly 70 hours. The Paxian engineers reluctantly allowed Jack, the station's theoretical physicist turned technician, to examine the fold drive. Located in the heart of the ship, the drive was a marvel of engineering. A spherical chamber housing a swirling vortex of energy, contained within crystalline rings. "The dimensional matrix is collapsing," the Paxian chief engineer explained condescendingly. "The calibration requires quantum precision that your species simply cannot achieve." Jack circled the chamber slowly, his eyes fixed on the fluctuating energy patterns. "The problem isn't calibration," he said quietly. "It's resonance." The Paxian engineer scoffed. "Impossible. We've checked all harmonic frequencies." "Not harmonic resonance," Jack corrected. "Dimensional resonance. The drive isn't just folding space. It's creating micro-tiers in reality. Those tiers are growing." A stunned silence fell over the chamber. "How could you possibly know that?" the Paxian demanded. "Our own scientists have debated this theory for decades." Jack smiled faintly. "Because humans spent centuries imagining how to bend and break reality before we could actually do it. Our fiction writers predicted most of these problems long before our scientists encountered them." For 3 days, Jack barely left the drive chamber. He studied, calculated, and finally began constructing a device using components from a dozen different species technologies, plus some Earth equipment that seemed laughably simple by comparison. Tom worried as the deadline approached, but trusted Jack's brilliance. "What I'm creating is a dimensional stabilizer," Jack explained to the increasingly interested Paxian engineers. It doesn't fix your drive. It repairs the micro-tears in spacetime that are causing the drive to fail. In the final hour before the deadline, Jack activated his device. The swirling vortex of the fold drive stabilized, its color shifting from chaotic red to a steady blue. "Impossible," whispered the Paxian chief engineer, checking his instruments. "The fold matrix is not only stable, it's operating at 108% efficiency." Ambassador Loreth entered the chamber, his skin now glowing with a different color that indicated amazement. "How? Our greatest minds have sought this solution for generations." Jack shrugged modestly. "Different perspective. You've been trying to perfect the technology you know. Humans excel at mixing ideas that shouldn't work together." As the Eternal Light prepared to depart, Ambassador Loreth approached Tom one final time. "I will ensure the Conclave knows what happened here. What your Jack achieved today isn't just a repair. It's a breakthrough that will change how we understand dimensional physics." The massive ship vanished in a flash of light, folding space to reach the summit with hours to spare. Tom watched through the viewport as normal space resumed where the great vessel had been. "You know what this means, don't you?" Maria said quietly beside him. Tom nodded. "Everything changes. The galaxy can no longer ignore us." The Grand Hall of the Mechanics Order hummed with angry voices. Representatives from 17 species gathered around a massive crystalline table, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays, showing the rapid spread of human repair stations across the galaxy. 6 months ago, there was one human repair facility. Now there are 23, growled Master Technician Drav of the Ordex Guild. His metallic skin reflected the light as he gestured at the displays. "Our profits have decreased by 30%. High Engineer Xelf, leader of the Order for over 200 cycles, raised a slender hand for silence. "The humans represent a temporary novelty. Their methods are unorthodox and dangerous. They improvise rather than follow established protocols. Yet they succeed where we have failed," noted a Vortian representative. "The Eternal Light incident cannot be ignored. The Paxian Conclave now sends all their ships to human stations." Selth's eyes narrowed. "Then we must demonstrate the danger of human repairs. I propose Operation Safety First." Within weeks, ships repaired at human stations began experiencing mysterious failures. The Mechanics Order launched a galaxy-wide campaign warning about the dangers of untested human methods and temporary fixes that lead to catastrophic results. On Nexus 7, Tom called an emergency meeting as repair requests suddenly dropped by half. "The Order is behind this," Maria said, tossing a datapad onto the table. "They've pushed through new regulations requiring all repairs to follow established galactic standards. Any deviation must be certified by a guild master." Jack shook his head. "But our methods aren't in their manuals because we created them. It's a perfect trap." "They're also sabotaging ships we've already repaired," Ben added. 3 captains have reported mysterious failures immediately after Order inspections." Tom paced the room, considering their options. "We need to play by their rules while we fight this. From now on, document everything with multiple backups, and we need allies." The opportunity came sooner than expected. The luxury passenger liner Stellar Dream carrying diplomats from 17 species, suffered catastrophic engine failure near Earth after receiving repairs from an Order-certified facility. The ship was on a collision course with a populated satellite when Nexus 7 received their distress call. "Their main reactor is going critical," Pete reported. "Order repairs bypassed 3 safety systems to make the ship appear functional." "Launch all emergency shuttles," Tom ordered. "We have 30 minutes to prevent a disaster." The human team boarded the stricken vessel while it was still in motion. Working at unprecedented speed, they rerouted power systems, improvised cooling mechanisms, and stabilized the reactor enough to divert the ship from its deadly trajectory. As the ship limped into dock, news of the near disaster spread across galactic networks. Footage of the human repair team risking their lives went viral. The passengers, many of them influential diplomats, demanded an investigation. 3 weeks later, Tom stood before the Galactic Council, facing down High Engineer Self and the entire leadership of the Mechanics Order. "The evidence is irrefutable," announced the Council Elder. Order technicians deliberately sabotaged ships repaired by humans and installed faulty systems on the Stellar Dream that nearly resulted in tragedy. The Council's verdict was swift. The Mechanics Order would lose its monopoly on repair certification. A new system would be established allowing multiple approaches to pass certification, including human methods. As Stealth and his followers were escorted from the chamber, Ambassador Loreth approached Tom. "You have made powerful enemies today," the Paxian warned. "The Order has influenced galactic technology for millennia." Tom shrugged. "We didn't ask for this fight. We just want to fix things. And that is precisely why you humans are dangerous to them," Loreth replied. "You fix problems without concern for profit or tradition." Back at Nexus 7, the team celebrated their victory as repair requests flooded in at record numbers. Ships lined up for weeks to receive human attention. "We won this round," Maria said, raising a glass. "But the Order won't give up easily." Tom nodded, watching the stars through the viewport. "Then we'll just have to keep doing what we do best, fixing things others can't or won't." Across the galaxy, captains and crews shared stories of human ingenuity, spreading the word. If something is truly broken, take it to the humans. They'll find a way. The newly constructed Human Interspecies Repair Academy gleamed in the morning sunlight as Tom Mason stood at the entrance, watching the first students arrive. The massive facility, built on Earth's moon, represented humanity's official entry into galactic education. "Nervous?" Maria asked, joining him at the viewpoint overlooking the landing pads where ships from 24 species were docking. "A little," Tom admitted. "Teaching is different from doing. What if we can't explain how we know what we know?" "That's exactly why we need this place," she replied. "To figure out what makes human repair methods special and share it with others." The first class of the academy consisted of 60 students from 32 species, plus 20 human apprentices. Tom watched as they filed into the main hall, some floating, some crawling, some walking on various numbers of limbs. All had come to learn the mysterious human approach to fixing things. Jack, now the Academy's head of theoretical applications, stepped up to the podium. "Welcome to the first day of a new kind of education. This isn't just about humans teaching aliens or aliens teaching humans. It's about creating something entirely new." In the following weeks, the Academy became a laboratory of cross-species collaboration. Humans learned the precision of Vortian crystal alignment and the patient persistence of Ordex microassembly. In return, they taught their alien colleagues something more intangible, a way of thinking that refused to accept limitations. In one memorable class, Tom observed a frustrated Teligian engineer named Vex working on an engine problem. "It's impossible," Vex complained. "The mathematical models say these components cannot work together." Annie, a human student from Australia, looked at the problem differently. "What if we're not trying to make them work together? What if we use the conflict between them to create something new?" By deliberately setting up a controlled clash between incompatible technologies, they created a power modulation system that functioned better than either original design. The breakthrough became known as constructive incompatibility, the first of many new repair principles to emerge from the Academy. 3 months into the program, Tom and Maria were summoned to a private meeting with representatives from the Galactic Council. "We have been studying your methods," said Counselor Jur, a being of pure energy contained in a mechanical shell. "Your success is not merely technical skill. There is something more fundamental at work." Tom nodded. "We've been trying to identify it ourselves. It's not that humans are smarter or more advanced. If anything, we're behind most galactic species in pure technological development." "It's your history," Maria added. "Humans developed in isolation, with thousands of different cultures creating different solutions to the same problems. When we finally united, we had this massive toolkit of approaches. We never learned there was only one right way to do things. Most advanced species developed along singular, efficient paths. Counselor Jur observed. Logical, orderly, building upon established principles. Humans developed chaotically, with redundancies and contradictions. What you call chaos, we call auctions, Tom replied. When one approach fails, we try another, then another. We're comfortable with failure as part of the learning process. The Academy soon became famous throughout the galaxy. Graduates were sought after by ships and stations of all species. More impressively, new hybrid technologies began emerging as students combined human flexibility with alien expertise. On the Academy's one-year anniversary, Tom stood before a much larger crowd than at its opening. The facility had tripled in size, with new wings dedicated to research and development. A year ago, we thought we were creating a school to teach repair techniques, he told the assembled beings. We were wrong. What we've actually built is a place where different ways of thinking collide and create something greater than the sum of their parts. As the applause of hundreds of different species filled the hall, Tom realized that humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy wasn't technological at all. It was perspective, the willingness to question established truths, to learn from failure, and to see problems not as obstacles, but as opportunities for innovation. The Academy's motto, now displayed in 57 languages above the main entrance, said it all. There is always another way. 5 years after the Windstar first limped to Nexus 7 with failing engines, the orbital repair station had become unrecognizable. What was once a cobbled-together collection of modules had expanded into a massive complex that served as humanity's unofficial embassy to the stars. Captain Drell stood at the viewport of his ship, watching the busy traffic around the station. Beside him stood a young Telgian, his scales still bright with youth. This is where it all began, Mira, Drell told his apprentice. When my ship was failing, I thought these humans would barely manage a temporary fix. I never imagined they would change the galaxy. Mira's eyes widened as she observed the dozens of alien vessels docked at the station. It doesn't look like any repair facility I've ever seen. That's exactly the point, Drell replied with a flick of his tail. As they docked, a familiar figure waited to greet them. Tom Mason's hair had more gray now, and he carried himself with the confidence of a diplomat rather than just a station chief. Captain Drell, right on schedule for your maintenance check. Is this the apprentice you mentioned? Drell nodded. This is Mira. She's here to learn what you call the human way of solving problems. Tom smiled. Well, you're just in time for something special. He led them through the busy corridors of the station. Aliens of all descriptions worked alongside humans, exchanging ideas in a chaotic but productive atmosphere. They passed workshops where impossible hybrid technologies were being developed and classrooms where beings from across the galaxy learned together. Today marks the official opening of the Interspecies Engineering Initiative headquarters, Tom explained, guiding them toward a shuttle bay. The Galactic Council finally recognized what we've been doing here. The shuttle carried them to Earth's moon, where the original Academy had grown into a sprawling campus. At its center stood a new building of breathtaking design, combining architectural elements from 100 worlds. As they entered the Grand Hall, Drell was surprised to see many familiar faces from across the galaxy. Ambassador Loreth of the Paxians nodded in greeting. Captain Lear of the Cosmic Lens waved a crystalline appendage. Even High Engineer Xelf, formerly of the Mechanics Order, stood at the periphery of the crowd, his metallic features unreadable. The Galactic Council Elder addressed the gathering. For thousands of years, technological progress in our society followed predictable paths. Species that achieved space travel developed along similar lines, building upon established principles. Humanity's entry into the galactic community changed this pattern. Maria joined Tom, Drell, and Mira as the ceremony continued. When we started, she whispered, We were just trying to keep ships flying. We never thought it would lead to this. Humans did not conquer space with superior weapons or technology, the elder continued. Instead, they connected with other species through their unique ability to fix what others could not. In doing so, they revealed a blind spot in our galactic thinking, our tendency to follow established paths rather than exploring new possibilities. With ceremonial flourish, the elder unveiled a plaque declaring Earth the official center for technological repair innovation throughout the galaxy. Later, as the celebrations continued, Drell found Tom standing alone, looking at the Earth hanging in the black sky above them. "You've come far since I doubted your ability to fix my coolant system," Drell observed. Tom laughed. "We still don't have the most advanced technology. We probably never will. But we found our place as the mechanics who keep the galaxy running," Drell finished. Young Mira approached them, her eyes bright with excitement after speaking with engineers from a dozen worlds. "I've been thinking about a new way to reconfigure drive systems by combining Telsian crystal matrices with human analog backups. Would that work?" Tom and Drell exchanged knowing glances. 5 years ago, everyone would have said no, Tom replied. But now, try it and find out. That's the human way. As night fell on the lunar base, ships of all designs and origins continued to arrive. Not broken vessels seeking repairs, but representatives of civilizations seeking the perspective that only humanity could provide. In a galaxy of specialists, humans had become the ultimate generalists, the species that connected all others through their unique ability to see problems not as fixed realities, but as challenges waiting for new solutions. The mechanics of the galaxy had found their calling, not in conquest or domination, but in something far more profound, helping others move forward when they thought they could go no further.